I've spent some time recently out of doors concentrating on trying to understand what the essential nature of the acoustic world is. Sitting in the park with the children on Good Friday, Holy Saturday, I hear the footsteps of people walking past me on the footpath. Many different kinds of footsteps. Women's high-heeled shoes. Shoes that sound like flip-flops. Groups of people walking together or apart. Children toddling along with rapid steps. Somebody running. They come from this side and that side. They mingle and separate and pass me. There's the rustling of the newspaper from somebody sitting on the next bench. And the murmur of conversation from people sitting on the same bench. Further out to the right and behind me there's the car park and the sound of people starting and stopping their cars and driving off. Way off to the left there's the main road and the noise of the heavy traffic roaring past in the distance. Further in front of me is the lake with the ducks and the other pond birds with all the quacking and the splashing that goes on all the time as they land and take off and fight and squabble over bits of food. There's the splash of the paddle boats, and the little children crying out. Further off there's the different sound of the rowing boats out on the larger lake. Beyond that is the park itself, and here one has the distant cries of people playing ball, shouts of children. This is all set against the breeze blowing in the trees behind me. And the myriad voices and sounds coming from all of these directions create a panorama of music and information, which is absorbing and fascinating. I suddenly hear a voice from the lake. My children are there, and previously they were not there, not until they cried out. The strange thing about it is that it's a world which consists only of activity. Every sound is a point of activity. Where there is no activity, there's no sound, and then that part of the world dies. A note on weather. I noticed that I was greeting people and saying to them what a nice day it was, to find that they were unresponsive or even surprised. And it gradually occurred to me that the concept of a nice day is very largely a visual concept, because what a sighted person means by a nice day is a clear blue sky, it being reasonably warm, the sun shining. In the blind person's appreciation of weather, wind takes the place of sun. To me, a nice day is when there's a wind blowing, because the wind brings all the noises in the environment to life. The rustling of the leaves, the blowing of paper along a footpath, the sounds of the wind around the edges of the building, the feel of the wind in my hair, on my face, in my clothes. To a blind person, thunder would always be interesting and exciting because it suddenly puts a roof over his head. The thunder sets for him the dimensions of the outdoor space within which he is situated. Thus thunder is almost, one might say, revelatory. The sighted person always has a roof over his head in the form of the blue sky or the cloud cover or the stars, but the blind person never has a roof over his head until thunder puts it there. The same is true of the sounds of the wind in the trees. It gives space. A still day is boring. A windy day is always exciting and often beautiful. The earliest experience of panic which I can remember in connection with blindness took place in the middle of December, on a dark afternoon when snow had been predicted. I left the house, but had only gone about 100 yards when I was aware of a growing feeling of doubt and uncertainty. I was intensely aware of the fact that I was going through nothing, through an intensely cold nothing. Going nowhere, entirely alone. I was entering into a long, dark, endless tunnel, which when I'd entered it, I couldn't come back. I had a desperate feeling of being enclosed, of having to get out. I had a dreadful sense of impending doom. A desperate need to break through this black curtain, this black veil which surrounded me, to come out into the world of light out there. I turned around and walked back to the house. I must get out, as if I was banging my head, my whole body against the wall of blindness. The experience of hearing rain falling. This evening I came out the front door of the house at 9 o'clock and it was raining. I stood for a few minutes, lost in the beauty of it. If only there could be something equivalent to rain falling inside. Shape and dimension. Rain brings out the contours of what's around you, in that it introduces a continuous blanket of differentiated and specialised sound, uninterrupted, which fills the whole of the audible environment. I should also say that this is an experience of beauty, and the beauty lies in the way that the patterns of sound present the world to one, the world which is otherwise veiled until one actually touches it, is through the grace of the rain revealed to one, becomes present to one, so that suddenly, instead of being isolated, cut off, preoccupied internally by the things that your body is encountering moment by moment, you are presented with a world. You are related to a world. You are addressed by a world. Why should this experience strike one as being beautiful? Cognition is beautiful. It's beautiful to know. At the party a week or two ago, there was a group of young singers sang religious music. This was so beautiful and delightful to hear, and I was standing so close to them. I listened with real ecstasy, and it was just a lovely experience. I was shocked out of this when somebody said to me afterwards, "And you know, John, you might like to know, they all look so radiant, their faces are smiling, they're dressed in such bright colours, and they really look so delightfully happy." I was in a way glad to have this information, but what moved me was the sound, and I do not think that my pleasure at the sound could have been increased by sight or by a description of what I would have seen if I had sight. I do not think, in other words, that my appreciation lacked anything because there was not a visual element in it. This makes me reflect upon the fact that, as one goes deeper into blindness, the things which once one took for granted and then mourned the loss of and then tried in a way desperately to compensate for, in the end cease to matter. They lose existential meaning, they are removed to the periphery of one's consciousness, they become irrelevant